Hello one and all, welcome back to ArcheAge Inspiration. My name is Cilantro. Today's rolls are 2, 3, and 8. So we'll see what we have here. That looks like defense, occultism, and archery. And that is known as a Dreadstone. Alright, let's see what a Dreadstone can do. So what I have for the Dreadstone is a versatile crowd control and space control PvP tank. The idea behind this build is to sort of gain control and space out the enemies. What you're going to be trying to shoot for is proper imprisonment placing, as well as Boneyard, using tools such as Mana Force, Telekinesis to move people around, as well as with all your crowd control elements, keeping them in line. Oil's Hammer, Stillness, Snare, and of course Hell Spear and Summon Crows, and Summon Wraith. All amazingly powerful tools for space control and AoE crowd control. Really, this build is quite heavy in all the themed elements behind it. I play Skull Knight on a regular basis, which is occultism, defense, and oromancy. While oromancy does provide vicious implosion and a number of other abilities, picking up archery does give you an extra little bit of move speed. You don't have any direct movement options. There's no blink or teleport or anything like that. No leaps or anything, so you're pretty much honest as far as that goes. But I would actually recommend that you use a mount in combat with this build. When you're going to go initiate a fight, I think the cat makes for a good choice because it has an invincible charge. So what you can do is you can activate your run if you need it, and then charge right into the middle of the group, dismount, and do whatever crowd control elements that you want. The space control really is quite amazing, giving yourself plenty of options, including, of course, imprison. Once you've imprisoned targets, you can actually hit them on the other side of the imprison using your abilities that have a point-blank AoE. Even Summon Wraith works. So it may often be that you're not only using this against the enemy, but also essentially using your imprison for yourself, so that you have a theater of operations wherein you will not be interrupted. You can do the same thing with the Boneyard. Get really close to a target, Boneyard, hit only them and yourself, lock yourself in, and then use that as a platform around which you can place the rest of your abilities. Really quite a large suite of crowd control and space control abilities in this build. I actually really kind of wish I could have got some PvP footage with it. Maybe I'll take it out in the open seas at some point. But everything between stillness, snare, all these different elements will help you quite nicely take control of any given situation, and hopefully be able to support your team and lead them to victory. No real direct or crazy combinations here. Shield Slam into Bull Rush is pretty normal stuff. You'll get a good chunk of damage with your physical weapon, and of course the good crowd control chain. Do know that you do get a little bit of extra damage with Shield Slam if the target is already snared, which I would highly recommend using Snare as one of your initiation tools. Another interesting addition here is Telekinesis. If you're interested in controlling space, you can get into the battlefield, assess the situation, use Imprison and Boneyard to get your spatial control underway. And if there's anyone who's isolated, you can use Telekinesis to essentially buy yourself as much time as you need for your allies to do everything. It's a very selfless build. Its own damage isn't that high, but the utility is pretty strong. A few last little notes here. Mana Force is another good ability to use for spatial control. If you're in a situation where you have a few too many people that may get in the way with an imprison, you can use a snare, Mana Force somebody away who you don't want in your imprison, and then use the imprison and follow up with the rest of your elements. I've shown off in previous videos as well that when you use Mana Force and Boneyard in combination with each other, that they can have some interesting interactions. Mana Force essentially works off of the global cooldown, meaning that it doesn't actually require a global cooldown to use it. So you can essentially use it and another ability simultaneously, as shown right here. Here I was able to push the target out while also trapping myself in with the Boneyard. And so now I've sort of relegated this space to be mine only, and as I mentioned earlier, I can now use that space for all of my crowd control spells. One further option, if you are so inclined, is to take Float. A lot of your spells and abilities are instant cast and could be used from Float. The problem is that one of the only ways to really break Float easily is to have some good maneuverabilities, especially like teleport and drop back. Those are things that this build doesn't have. Lastly, if somebody's trying to escape in prison, especially, and slightly boneyard, with a mount, Mana Stars is one of the best ways to prevent them from doing this. First of all, its utility as a debuff is quite well known. Its damage output isn't phenomenal, but it is there. And this ability, because it fires so quickly, will make it very hard for anybody to escape via glider if they're in a prison. The constant shooting will trigger enough time so that any given hit, as long as you're constantly pouring out Mana Stars, will make it almost impossible for anybody to get out, even if they try to just jump on their glider and immediately use their boost. It's very likely that Mana Stars will prevent them from getting out. So there you go. There's a quick look at the Dreadstone. Maximum crowd control, maximum space control, something that I think is very important in PvP. And I encourage you guys to all go out there and give this a shot. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking the video, and I'll see you next time.